Catherine Elise Blanchett AC is an Australian actress and theatre director. One of Australia's most accomplished actresses, she is known for her roles in both high-profile mainstream productions and low-budget independent films. Blanchett is the recipient of numerous accolades, including 2 Academy Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, and 3 BAFTA Awards. Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2007, and in 2018, she was ranked among the highest-paid actresses in the world.
After graduating from the National Institute of Dramatic Art, Blanchett began her acting career on the Australian stage, taking on roles in Electra in 1992 and Hamlet in 1994. She came to international attention for portraying Elizabeth I in the drama film Elizabeth, for which she won the BAFTA Award for Best Actress and earned her first nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actress. Her portrayal of Katharine Hepburn in the biopic The Aviator earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, and she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for playing an erotic former socialite in the drama Blue Jasmine. Her other Oscar-nominated roles were in the dramas Notes on a Scandal, Elizabeth, The Golden Age, I'm Not There, and Carol.
Blanchett's most commercially successful films include The Talented Mr. Ripley, Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy, and The Hobbit trilogy, Babel, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Cinderella, Thor, Ragnarok, and Ocean's 8. From 2008 to 2013, Blanchett and her husband Andrew Upton served as the artistic directors of the Sydney Theatre Company. Some of her stage roles during this period were in revivals of A Streetcar Named Desire, Uncle Vanya, and The Maids. She made her Broadway debut in 2017 with The Present, for which she received a Tony Award nomination.
The Australian government awarded Blanchett the Centenary Medal in 2001 and appointed her a Companion of the Order of Australia in 2017. She was appointed Chevalier of the Order of Arts and Letters by the French government in 2012. She has been presented with a Doctor of Letters from the University of New South Wales, University of Sydney, and Macquarie University. In 2015, she was honoured by the Museum of Modern Art and received the British Film Institute Fellowship.
Blanchett was born on 14 May 1969 in the Melbourne suburb of Ivanhoe. Her Australian mother, June Blanchett, worked as a property developer and teacher, and her American father, Robert DeWitt Blanchett Jr., a Texas native, was a United States Navy chief petty officer who later worked as an advertising executive. The two met when Blanchett's father's ship broke down in Melbourne. When Blanchett was 10, her father died of a heart attack, leaving her mother to raise the family on her own. Blanchett is the middle of 3 children. She has an older brother Bob Blanchett and a younger sister Genevieve Blanchett. Her ancestry includes English, some Scottish, and remote French roots.
Blanchett has described herself as being part extrovert, part wallflower during childhood. She had a penchant for dressing in traditionally masculine clothing and went through goth and punk phases during her teenage years and shaved her head at one point. She attended primary school in Melbourne at Ivanhoe East Primary School. For her secondary education, she attended Ivanhoe Girls Grammar School and then Methodist Ladies College, where she explored her passion for the performing arts. In her late teens and early 20s, she worked at a nursing home in Victoria. She studied economics and fine arts at the University of Melbourne, but dropped out after 1 year to travel overseas. While in Egypt, Blanchett was asked to play an American cheerleader as an extra in the Egyptian boxing movie, Kaboria. In need of money, she accepted. Upon returning to Australia, and after working in the pocket theatres of Melbourne, including La Mama, she moved to Sydney and enrolled at the National Institute of Dramatic Art. She graduated from NIDA in 1992 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Blanchett's first major stage role was opposite Geoffrey Rush in the 1992 David Mamet play Oleanna for the Sydney Theatre Company. That year, she was also cast as Clytemnestra in a production of Sophocles' Electra. A couple of weeks after rehearsals, the actress playing the title role pulled out, and director Lindy Davies cast Blanchett in the role. Her performance as Electra became one of her most acclaimed at NIDA. In 1993, Blanchett was awarded the Sydney Theatre Critics' Best Newcomer Award for her performance in Timothy Daly's Kafka Dances and won Best Actress for her performance in Mamet's Oleanna, making her the first actor to win both categories in the same year. Blanchett played the role of Ophelia in an acclaimed 1994-1995 Company B production of Hamlet, directed by Neil Armfield, starring Rush and Richard Roxburgh, and was nominated for a Green Room Award. She appeared in the 1994 TV miniseries Heartland opposite Ernie Dingo, the miniseries Bordertown with Hugo Weaving, and in an episode of Police Rescue entitled The Loaded Boy. She also appeared in the 50-minute drama short Parklands, which received an Australian Film Institute nomination for Best Original Screenplay.
Blanchett made her feature film debut with a supporting role as an Australian nurse captured by the Japanese Army during World War II in Bruce Beresford's film Paradise Road, which co-starred Glenn Close and Frances McDormand. Her first leading role was as Lucinda Leplastrier in Gillian Armstrong's romantic drama Oscar and Lucinda, opposite Ralph Fiennes. Blanchett received wide acclaim for her performance and earned her first Offie Award nomination as Best Leading Actress. She lost to Deborah Mailman in Radiance. She won the Offie Best Actress Award in the same year for her role as Lizzie in the romantic comedy Thank God He Met Lizzie, co-starring Richard Roxburgh and Frances O'Connor. By 1997, Blanchett had accrued significant praise and recognition in her native Australia.
Her first high-profile international role was as Elizabeth I of England in the critically acclaimed film Elizabeth, directed by Shekhar Kapur. The film catapulted her to stardom, and her performance garnered wide recognition, earning her the Golden Globe Award and British Academy Award, and her first Screen Actors Guild and Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. The following year, Blanchett appeared in Bangers, an Australian short film part of Stories of Lost Souls, a compilation of thematically related short stories. The short was written and directed by her husband, Andrew Upton, and produced by Blanchett and Upton. She also appeared in the Mike Newell comedy Pushing Tin, co-starring Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie, and the critically acclaimed Anthony Minghella film The Talented Mr. Ripley, alongside Matt Damon, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jude Law, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. She received her second BAFTA nomination for her performance in The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Already an acclaimed actress, Blanchett received a host of new fans when she starred in Peter Jackson's Academy Award-winning blockbuster trilogy, The Lord of the Rings, playing the role of Galadriel in all three films. In addition to The Lord of the Rings, 2001 also saw Blanchett diversify her portfolio with a range of roles in the dramas Charlotte Gray and The Shipping News and the American crime comedy Bandits, for which she earned a second Golden Globe and SAG Award nomination.
In 2002, Blanchett appeared, opposite Giovanni Ribisi, in Tom Tykwer-directed Heaven, the first film in an unfinished trilogy by acclaimed writer-director Krzysztof Kiełowski. 2003 saw Blanchett again playing a wide range of roles. Galadriel in the third and final installment of the Lord of the Rings film trilogy, the Ron Howard-directed Western thriller The Missing, Jim Jarmusch's Coffee and Cigarettes, playing two roles for which she received an Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female nomination, and the biographical film Veronica Guerin, which earned her a Golden Globe Best Actress Drama nomination.
In 2005, she won her first Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her acclaimed portrayal of Katharine Hepburn in Martin Scorsese's The Aviator. This made Blanchett the first actor to win an Academy Award for portraying an Academy Award-winning actor. She lent her Oscar statuette to the Australian Centre for the Moving Image. That year, Blanchett won the Australian Film Institute Best Actress Award for her role as Tracy Hart, a former heroin addict, in the Australian film Little Fish, co-produced by her and her husband's production company, Dirty Films. Though lesser known globally than some of her other films, Little Fish received great critical acclaim in Blanchett's native Australia and was nominated for 13 Australian Film Institute awards.
In 2006, she starred opposite Brad Pitt in the multilingual, multi-narrative ensemble drama Babel, directed by Alejandro González Iñárritu, which received 7 Academy Award nominations, the Steven Soderbergh-directed drama The Good German with George Clooney, and the acclaimed psychological thriller Notes on a Scandal opposite Dame Judi Dench. Blanchett received a 3rd Academy Award nomination for her performance in the latter film.
In 2007, Blanchett was named as one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in the world and also one of the most successful actresses by Forbes magazine. Blanchett had a cameo as Janine, forensic scientist and ex-girlfriend of Simon Pegg's character in Edgar Wright's Hot Fuzz. The cameo was uncredited, and she gave her fee to charity. She reprised her role as Queen Elizabeth I in the 2007 sequel Elizabeth. The Golden Age, and portrayed Jude Quinn, one of 6 incarnations of Bob Dylan in Todd Haynes' experimental film I'm Not There. She won the Volpe Cup Best Actress Award at the Venice Film Festival, the Independent Spirit and Golden Globe Best Supporting Actress Award for her portrayal of Jude Quinn. At the 80th Academy Awards, Blanchett received 2 Academy Award nominations: Best Actress for Elizabeth, the Golden Age, and Best Supporting Actress for I'm Not There, becoming the 11th actor to receive 2 acting nominations in the same year and the first female actor to receive another nomination for the reprisal of a role. Of her achievement that year, critic Roger Ebert said that Blanchett could appear in the same Toronto International Film Festival playing Elizabeth and Bob Dylan, both splendidly, is a wonder of acting.
She next appeared in Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as the villainous KGB agent Colonel Drive, Irina Spalko, Spielberg's favorite villain from the entire series, and in David Fincher's Oscar-nominated The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, co-starring with Brad Pitt for a second time. Blanchett voiced the character of Grandmamma for the English version of the film Ponyo, released July 2008. On 5 December 2008, Blanchett was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame with a motion picture star at 6712 Hollywood Boulevard in front of Grauman's Egyptian Theatre.
In 2008, Blanchett and her husband became co-CEOs and artistic directors of the Sydney Theatre Company. Blanchett returned to acting in the theatre in 2009 with the Sydney Theatre Company production of Tennessee Williams' A Streetcar Named Desire, directed by Liv Ullmann. She starred as Blanche Dubois alongside Joel Edgerton as Stanley Kowalski. Ullmann and Blanchett had been meaning to collaborate on a project since Ullmann's intended film adaptation of A Doll's House fell by the wayside. Blanchett proposed embarking on Streetcar to Ullmann, who jumped at the opportunity after initial discussion.
A Streetcar Named Desire production traveled from Sydney to the Brooklyn Academy of Music in New York and the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. It was critically and commercially successful, and Blanchett received critical acclaim for her performance as Blanche Dubois. The New York Times critic Ben Brantley said, "Dubois has been pulled gently and firmly down to earth by Ms. Blanchett and Ms. Ullmann. What Ms. Blanchett brings to the character is life itself, a primal survival instinct. Ms. Ullmann and Ms. Blanchett have performed the play as if it had never been staged before, with the result that, as a friend of mine put it, you feel like you're hearing words you thought you knew pronounced correctly for the first time." The Washington Post's Peter Marks proclaimed, "What Blanchett achieves in the Sydney Theatre Company's revelatory revival of A Streetcar Named Desire amounts to a truly great portrayal, certainly the most heartbreaking Blanche I've ever experienced." John Lahr of The New Yorker said of her portrayal, "Blanchett, with her alert mind, her informed heart, and her lithe patrician silhouette, gets it right from the first beat. Blanchett doesn't make the usual mistake of foreshadowing Blanche's end at the play's beginning. She allows Blanche a slow, fascinating decline. I don't expect to see a better performance of this role in my lifetime." Jane Fonda, who attended a New York show, deemed it perhaps the greatest stage performance I have ever seen, and Meryl Streep declared that performance was as naked, as raw and extraordinary and astonishing and surprising and scary as anything I've ever seen. She took the layers of a person and just peeled them away. I thought I'd seen that play, I thought I knew all the lines by heart because I've seen it so many times, but I'd never seen the play until I saw that performance. Blanchett won the Sydney Theatre Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role. The production and Blanchett received Helen Hayes Awards for Outstanding Non-Resident Production and Outstanding Lead Actress in a Non-Resident Production Award, respectively.
In 2010, Blanchett appeared opposite Russell Crowe in Ridley Scott's epic war film Robin Hood. In 2011, she played the antagonist CIA agent Marissa Weigler in Joe Wright's action thriller film Hannah.
In 2011, Blanchett took part in 2 Sydney Theatre Company productions. She played Lot Cod in a new translation of Bozo Strauss's 1978 play Gross Unklein for Martin Krimp, directed by Benedict Andrews. After its Sydney run, the production travelled to London, Paris, the Vienna Festival and Festspiel. Blanchett in the production received wide acclaim. Blanchett was nominated for the London Evening Standard Award for Best Actress and won the Sydney Theatre Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role and the Helpman Award for Best Actress. She then played Yelena, opposite Hugo Weaving and Richard Roxburgh, in Andrew Upton's adaptation of Anton Chekhov's Uncle Vanya, which traveled to the Kennedy Center and the New York City Center as part of the Lincoln Center Festival. The production and Blanchett received critical acclaim, with the New York Times' Ben Brantley declaring, "I consider the 3 hours I spent on Saturday night watching complain about how bored they are among the happiest of my theatergoing life. This Uncle Vanya gets under your skin like no other I have seen, confirms her status as one of the best and bravest actresses on the planet." The Washington Post's Peter Marks dubbed the production Washington, D.C.'s top theatrical event of 2011. Blanchett received the Helen Hayes Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Non-Resident Production and the Helpman Award for Best Actress.
Blanchett reprised her role as Galadriel in Peter Jackson's adaptations of The Hobbit, prequel to the Lord of the Rings series, filmed in New Zealand. She voiced the role of Penelope in the Family Guy episode, Mr. and Mrs. Stewie, which aired on 29 April 2012, and Queen Elizabeth II in the episode, Family Guy Viewer Mail 2. Blanchett returned to Australian film with her appearance in The Turning, an anthology film based on a collection of short stories by Tim Winton. She was head of jury of the 2012 and 2013 Dubai International Film Festival. The Sydney Theatre Company's 2013 season was Blanchett's final one as co-CEO and artistic director.
In 2013, Blanchett played Jasmine French, the lead role in Woody Allen's Blue Jasmine, co-starring Alec Baldwin and Sally Hawkins. Her performance received critical acclaim, with some critics considering it to be the finest of her career to that point. The performance earned her more than 40 industry and critics awards, including LAFCO Award, NYFCC Award, NSFC Award, Critics' Choice Award, Santa Barbara International Film Festival, Outstanding Performance of the Year Award, SAG Award, Golden Globe Award, BAFTA Award, Independent Film Spirit Award, and the Academy Award for Best Actress. Blanchett's win made her just the 6th actress to win an Oscar in both of the acting categories, the 3rd to win Best Actress after Best Supporting Actress, and the first Australian to win more than one acting Oscar.
Allen's daughter Dylan Farrow has since criticized Blanchett and other actresses for working with Allen. Blanchett responded, "It's obviously been a long and painful situation for the family, and I hope they find some resolution and peace." In response to questions about her advocacy for women in Hollywood as part of the Me Too movement, Blanchett stated that the justice system, and not social media, should be the judge and jury in such cases.
In 2014, Blanchett co-starred with Matt Damon and George Clooney in the latter's film, The Monuments Men, based on the true story of a crew of art historians and museum curators who recover renowned works of art stolen by Nazis. The film featured an ensemble cast, including John Goodman, Bill Murray, Hugh Bonneville, and Jean Dujardin. In the same year, she voiced the part of Valka in the DreamWorks animation film How to Train Your Dragon 2. The film received critical acclaim and was a box office success. It went on to win the Golden Globe Award for Best Animated Feature Film and receive a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Blanchett guest-starred on the Australian show Rake as the on-screen female version of Richard Roxburgh's rogue protagonist, Cleaver. On 29 January 2015, she co-hosted the 4th Octo Awards with Deborah Mailman.
In 2015, Blanchett starred in 5 films. She portrayed Nancy in Terrence Malick's Knight of Cups, which premiered at the Berlin International Film Festival. IndieWire named Blanchett's performance in Knight of Cups one of the 15 best performances in Terrence Malick films. She then portrayed Lady Tremaine in Disney's live-action adaptation of Cinderella, directed by Kenneth Branagh, to critical acclaim. She starred opposite Rooney Mara in Carol, the film adaptation of Patricia Highsmith's The Price of Salt, reuniting her with director Todd Haynes. Blanchett served as an executive producer on the film. She received Academy Award, Golden Globe Award, and BAFTA Award nominations for her performance in Carol. She also portrayed Mary Mapes opposite Robert Redford's Dan Rather in Truth, a film about the Killian documents controversy. Blanchett's production company was a producing partner for the film. Blanchett also appeared in Manifesto, Julian Rosefeldt's multi-screen video installation, in which 12 artist manifestos are depicted by 13 different characters played by Blanchett. In 2016, Blanchett narrated one of 2 versions of Terrence Malick's documentary On Earth and the Universe, Voyage of Time, which had its world premiere at the 73rd Venice Film Festival.
In 2017, Blanchett starred in the Sydney Theatre Company play The Present, Andrew Upton's adaptation of Anton Chekhov's play Platonov, directed by John Crowley. The production debuted in Sydney in 2015 to critical acclaim and transferred to Broadway in 2017, marking Blanchett's Broadway debut. Blanchett's performance during the play's Broadway run also received critical acclaim. She received a Tony Award nomination for Best Actress in a Play, a Drama Desk Award nomination, and a Drama League Award nomination for the Distinguished Performance Award. In 2017, Blanchett also appeared in Malick Song to Song, shot back-to-back with Knight of Cups in 2012, and portrayed the villain Hela in the Marvel Studios film Thor: Ragnarok, directed by Taika Waititi.
In 2018, Blanchett starred in Ocean's 8, the all-female spin-off of the Ocean's 11 franchise, directed by Gary Ross, opposite Sandra Bullock, Anne Hathaway, Sarah Paulson, Mindy Kaling, Helena Bonham Carter and Rihanna. She also portrayed Florence Zimmerman in the film adaptation of The House with a Clock in Its Walls. Blanchett was president of the jury of the 71st Cannes Film Festival, which took place in May 2018. That year, Forbes estimated her annual earning to be $12.5 million and ranked her as the 8th highest-paid actress in the world.
Blanchett voiced the sinister Python Ka in Andy Serkis's adaptation of The Jungle Book titled Mowgli: Legend of the Jungle, in which he mixes motion capture, CG animation, and live action. In 2019, Blanchett starred in Where'd You Go, Bernadette, an adaptation of the best-selling book of the same name, which was directed by Richard Linklater. She received her 10th Golden Globe nomination for her performance in the film. That same year, she also reprised her role as Valka in How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.